worse behaved children, and the undermining of the parent one against the other doesn't help, and you be like, man, look, I ain't having no more kids, right? And so do you believe the kid is the problem? One, you already ingrained with that idea that the child is the problem, because you start talking about when he ain't got no job and why is he having babies? He got all these babies, ain't got no money. Then child support comes in, right? They're gonna take you to court. If you got a woman that's pregnant, she's in the system. So everything starts to break you down to the point you'll say, look, I don't want to have no more kids. Or you do like some of these other people who kind of a bit crazy. What do? They kill their children. They kill the children, they kill the woman, and they might even kill themselves. Right? There's stories you read about this all the time. Why? They didn't want to pay child support. So, but anyway, the woman's movement, a Muslim woman, if she's really sincere and really believes in the idea of empowering women, then she will become a person who learned her Fard Ain and begin to teach it to women who don't go out the house, who don't go to the masjid. See, because that's what Nana Ismail did in their family, right? The daughter of the Shehu. Whatever they learned, they took it to the people who weren't able to frequent the cities. They would take the knowledge to them. That's our objective today, right? Is to make sure that Allah Ta'ala is getting worship properly. And the more that you teach people, the more relationship you build, the stronger the community becomes, because people will take take a liking to you if you spend intimate time with them. And what better way to spend intimate time with another person other than teaching them how to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and pray properly? Right? That is the objective. What is the best way to create love in the heart of your family? Other than making provision of monetary things for them, the other way to provide for them is by teaching them their deen, taking them to the next height, to the point that where they think about leaving you is almost like jumping off a cliff in their eyes, right? If you got one of the women on their way out, like, I don't need you anyway, that's all right, Aki, you cut your losses, man. Barakallahu fikum, right? Especially if you're a good guy to her, see you later, sis, inshallah. But that one when she's standing on the edge, like, when she thinks she about to jump off the mountain, you might need to wheel her back in. Like, come on, get over here and stop playing, right? That's the one you need to wheel in. Because that's all you have to ask her. Any person about to on their brink again, ask him, why you want to leave me? What is the benefits that you had during this marriage? And once you start seeing the benefits, and this is from the wisdom of the Prophet ﷺ, right? What's the wisdom? Don't think about the bad things in the relationship, but think about the good things. Pull them in with the wisdom. But I'm telling you, the one that's talking like, his time is up, it's over, I ain't got time for this kind of stuff, barakallahu fikum, see you on your way, right? But those who you could pull that checklist out, there's something worth fighting for. So anyway, the Shehu, in the second chapter, I gave you a preview last class. The Shaykh, he says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Being that I'm recording this for YouTube and I'm doing it on my phone, if I get a call, it interrupts the video altogether. So I'm going to have to pull it back up later on. So, it'll be a break in it. So I'll probably, part 1, part 2, part 3, if that happens. So he says the calamities that have become widespread in our land. So he said these calamities are not only widespread in Hausa land, but they're global. Amongst the calamities are how scholars neglect their wives, their daughters, their slaves, and they treat them like beasts without teaching them about Aqidah and the rulings of fiqh, learning how to make wudu, how to pray, how to fast, and etc. Those type of scholars also refuse to enlighten their wives and their daughters on issues related to the rulings on buyu, on trade and commerce, right? And some people, they believe that it's not necessary for their wives to work, and some people want their wives to work. If a woman wants to work or she wants to become a businesswoman, she should undertake and learn the etiquettes of being in the marketplace, right? Anytime a husband gets a wife, he shouldn't lose a wife because she got a job, right? But when they're tainted with the feminist bug, right? They get this independent, I don't need you, and then they start acting like that towards you. What's that joke that meme I posted? Get you a woman that make under, what was it, $15 an hour? Because the ones that make 20, they act like they don't need you. Right? But this is what's happening today. People are taking on this attitude. So they should learn about, they should learn about trade and commerce. He said this is wrong and can be described as a haram innovation in Islam. They handle them, meaning women, as if they're containers, which they finally throw away into the garbage after they all used up. You can't use it no more, you throw them away. He said this is ajiba. How should they leave their wives and daughters and slaves ignorant and engage themselves in serving others day and night merely to gain popularity? Because your family, your wife, your children is a reflection of you, right? We used to have this thing when we was kafirs in Jahiliyyah, right? We didn't care how we look as long as our girl looked good, because she's a representative of us. When she's a representative of us, we have to keep her fly. We have to keep her looking good, right? That's good on the outside. That's easy. You can go and buy a abaya. Boom, got a nice abaya, especially with all them gemstones in it doing tabarruj, right? But what happens after that? Underneath that abaya, she talks just like the people of disbelief. Underneath that abaya, she behaves just like the people of disbelief. She holds on to the practices of the people of disbelief, read horoscopes and things of that nature. What good is the outside if the inside is still, tainted? So we have to make sure that they're on the same level, because they're a reflection of us, right? They don't necessarily have to climb the ladder as fast as you do, but as a Muslim man and a Muslim woman in a family, they should be engaged in learning, and both learning the same thing and being on the same minhaj, right? These things should happen. So anyway, the Shaykh says such scholars act of teaching others is nafil, and the obligatory acts are superior over nafil acts. Teaching your family is wajib upon a scholar or a learned person, while teaching any other student is not it doesn't have the same hukum, right? So you're teaching, spending day and night teaching the Fard Ayn, but your family don't know anything of the Fard Ayn. Wife and children wiping over kimars and cotton socks, right? Don't know what takbir ihram is, right? That's one of the outward signs. You know when somebody's learning their Fard Ayn, especially if they Maliki, when the imam do a takbir ihram, Allahu Akbar, and you don't hear that Allahu Akbar from the people behind you, you know they ain't studying too hard, right? They doing what everybody else do. Flip the hands, right? Now Maliki's doing best, hands down, right, fellas? Allahu Akbar. One loud takbir, now you know where you at. Can't say that about every other place, but us, we know where we at. We know what we praying at. So anyway, so they don't know their obligations. He says the Sheikh, he said, "O Muslim women, never obey those who are lost and are bent into misleading you." So you should be careful who you're taking your nasiha from too, as well, right? He says they should obey. He said don't obey those who are lost and are bent in misleading you. That you should obey your husband rather obeying Allah and His Messenger, right? He says such people claim that a woman's happiness is only achieved through her servitude to her husband, and they do this purposely to satisfy their self-interest, right? Now, the Sheikh is about to qualify this statement. He's going to give you the characteristics of this kind of person, right? Because this is one of the things that you find. Me, I'm imam. I've done counseling. I've counseled people even to the point where they even mention that, not when they mention that they obeyed their husband. We only went to the bar because my husband told me to go. That's unacceptable, right? I only came out my garbs because my husband told me it was okay, right? If your husband told you that, you're not supposed to obey him. This is what the Sheikh is telling you. Because your allegiance to Allah and His Messenger is superior to that of your husband, right? It's superior. Now, most men during the time of the Shehu, and even brothers here, even at Masjid Uthman in the past, would see this as the Amir, as the Sheikh who was turning the wife against the husband, right? No, the husband isn't unrestricted. A woman has to obey her husband. But there's conditions. If it causes disobedience to Allah, there's no obedience there. But rather yet, what you see sometimes too in our sisters is that they disobey their husband that has nothing to do with Allah and His Messenger, but they can talk the fluff, the stuff, and make it sound real fluffy that they're obeying, that they make it seem as if they're obeying Allah. Like, example. The Shaykh's going to give an example. When we read it, I'm going to pause and see if y'all got the aha moment. Okay? So the first thing the Shaykh says, he says the last thing I read was, they do this purposely to satisfy their self-interest. And among their self-interest is including their wives to cook for them, wash their clothes, right? Which are not by Allah and His Messenger instructed for them, right? Because why? Because the Shaykh promotes the idea of milk yamin, that right hand possession. That's their purpose, right? So now your wife tell you she want to cook and clean. It's all right, I'm gonna find milk yamin. They know what that means. That right hand possession. He said he's a strong advocate for it. He be like, no, they ain't gotta cook and clean, but you gotta get them a servant. You gotta get them somebody to help cook and clean for them. Take advantage of it. They don't like that. I bet you have a clean house then. Ain't no other woman coming up in here. Especially you ain't gotta give her no nights. For a week. But anyway, so he says. So he says, certainly a wife must obey her husband, both privately and publicly. Okay? A wife must obey her husband privately and publicly. Even if her husband is unfair to her. That doesn't mean brothers go mistreat your wife. But if you ain't doing what you're supposed to do, she still has to obey you and have respect for you and obey you both in private and in public. She is not allowed to offend him except if he instructs her to commit a sin. And when they're saying offend, that don't just mean saying something that hurts your feelings. It means blatantly disrespecting and disobeying you. It's not permissible. No matter what the circumstance is. So, he says, the Sheikh, he says, she is instructed. Hold on a second. She's not allowed to offend him except if he instructs her to commit a sin. And she is instructed to disobey him in such situations because of the statement of the Prophet ﷺ, there is no obedience to creation by committing a sin, to be in disobedience to the Creator. If a woman obeys her husband,